One place to enjoy your Acura Summer of Performance event. Acura of Pembroke Pines. So hit the road in the new ADX. $289 a month. Acura of Pembroke Pines. The #1 volume Acura dealer.
This is the Big O Show. 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 This is...
When presenting an award to an employee, athlete, executive, or fantasy GM, make sure you call Orvieto's Awards and More. For 35 years, these custom award specialists have been providing plaques, trophies, custom framing, while providing state-of-the-art laser and computerized engraving, UV printing, and glass crystal etching. They do all their engraving and printing in-house for quality control. Call Charles at 305-949-8098 or visit them at orvietosawards.com. Orvieto's Awards and More, where recognition is rewarding.
Set the rhythm of your smart home with Sloman Shield Link, the new integrated smart home platform that automates your life just the way you want it. Sloman Shield Link, be the maestro of your own home.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors, 305-345-3649 or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
Hi, this is Jeff, formerly of Welton Rayon, PA, a longtime sponsor of the Big O Show. Now that Dan retired, I opened Welton Associates. I started this firm with a simple belief. When you hire a lawyer, you should be able to talk to your lawyer. For nearly 30 years, I have helped Floridians through serious legal problems. At my firm, you get direct access to me, clear communication, and a lawyer who knows the details of your case. I believe technology should make legal representation easier, not more impersonal. At Welton Associates, you get direct access to me, clear answers, personal attention, and real advocacy. Look us up at weltlawfirm.com or give me a call at 954-966-4646. Consultations are always free. And let me know that you found me at the Big O Show.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Come on in to Toyota of Hollywood, where curiosity and extraordinary deals await you. Your golden ticket buys a 2025 Corolla, not $26,000, $17,988. And we've got sweet deals with 0% financing for 72 months, 0 down. Enter our world of wonder, and we'll show you why we're the #1 volume Toyota dealer. Toyota of Hollywood on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyAccess.com, Media Group, Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website.
Good morning, boys and girls, or afternoon, evening, maybe middle of the night. I don't know when you're watching, and we appreciate whenever you do watch. Welcome aboard to another edition of the Big O Radio Show. Ready to rock. It's Friday, thank the Lord. We've got the weekend. I won't have a lot of weekends left, so I got to take advantage while I still have some weekends left before the football season starts, and then we're a go all the time. But at least it's football season, which is good, which we need it badly because after this offseason, we need it, man. It is Friday, July 24th, 2026. It is day number 19,185 since our Miami Dolphins were world champions. Day number 8,968 since the Canes were national champions. And day number 4,781 since the Miami Heat were world champions. We've got David Furones and Manny Navarro joining us. So we'll talk a little Dolphins with one. We'll talk a little Canes with the other. And we get a little closer to them actually covering the actual players. So we'll get a little preview before things start to heat up next week because Canes get ready at the end of the month. They're reporting, so it's a beautiful thing. And we get all the football stuff going. We got some football news locally, nationally. I got some host-on-host crime that I'm all here for. What else? We've got some other things that I will express my opinions on. Got a little music, obviously, to talk about. Got a fetish to talk about. Fetishes and everything on the show today. Fetishes. Oh, I'm telling you. That's we're going to cover the gamut today. We're all over the place, okay? We are like Sagua Fair. We are everywhere. And speaking of being everywhere, the market, the Dow right now, somehow or another, is up 126 points. The S&P is down about 1.5 points. The NASDAQ is up about a point. SpaceX down 4. There, it's down to $114. Can we get to the 109s, 108s, and then we'll work our ways to, getting down to under 100 and all that. Working it. I'm still not catching that falling knife yet. Not ready to catch the falling knife that is SpaceX. So we got that. And obviously with all hell breaking loose out in the Gulf, Bitcoin's also taking its hit. It just went right under 64,000 to 63,935 right now. So that's what's going on in the market. Remember, you can also make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. Send in your questions, comments, insults. Great way to support our show, and we appreciate that as always. Thank you all. Visit our amazing sponsors. Hit the like button. Many ways to support the show all throughout. I just can't wait to start actually talking about a lot of good stuff coming up. So we'll have some fun with that. What else do we have going on? Let's do this. Let's get to our 3A graphics sports calendar. And on Saturday, Inter Miami is back in action. They're on the road to take on Montreal at 7:30, plus 210 for Montreal on the money line. Inter Miami plus 110. In football, the Miami Dolphins play Storm Duck and Darrell Baker Jr., both DBs, on the active, physically unable to perform list. So we'll see what happens with Storm down the line. Storm has become a great name, but not so far a player. He's just shown some flashes, but hasn't done anything. So who knows what happens after that. Also, Dolphins will be working out UFL MVP quarterback Jack Plummer next week. Now, Jack will be working out today for the 49ers, okay? He played for the Orlando Storm, had 2,188 yards last year, 17 touchdowns, 1 interception. I don't care what league you're in, 17-1 is pretty damn good. He's 6'5", not related to Jake Plummer, by the way, just in case. I know for you old guys out there, you're wondering, wait a minute, is it Plummer? Is it the same Plummer? Is it the same piping? No, not the same piping. Not the same plumber, not the same piping. Anyway, they'll be working him out. Unless the Niners sign him today after working him out, I'm not exactly sure. Speaking of quarterbacks, the quarterback and overall asshole, Diego Pavia, got released by the Ravens. They signed center Ethan Pocic. Remember, the Ravens lost their all-world center to the Raiders. The Raiders gave him a hell of a contract because they were drafting Mendoza. So Lamar Jackson is going in with question marks at center. So they got rid of Pavia, which they have 4 quarterbacks. They have Lamar, Tyler Huntley, Skylar Thompson, and Joe Fagnano on the roster already. So they figured, why keep the asshole around? Let's go get ourselves another center. So that's what happened with the Ravens. And this is what I hate about training camp. I'm sure you do. We all do. Bad news for the Carolina Panthers. They lose outside linebacker Nick Scouton to a torn ACL in the right knee. Second-round pick last year, had 5 sacks, showed a lot of promise playing last year for the Panthers. They lose a very important player for them from their draft last year. They signed linebacker Cam Gill, who was the UFL Defensive Player of the Year. He had 11 sacks for the Louisville Kings. That is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. And if you need custom printing and embroidery, reach out to my guy, Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Shirts, hats, whatever it is you need, they've got it for you there. And so reach out to them at 3A Graphics. You do all of that anyways through, Zoom and email and all that, and they'll have it shipped to you right away. They've done it for the last 7 years already for a lot of our listeners out there that have churches or schools or businesses, or because the most popular thing hasn't really been, there's been some uniforms, but it's actually been shirts. like 50 or 100 or 500 or whatever, depending on what picnic you're having or trip or whatever. That's actually been very popular. You know what I mean? So there you go. Reach out to my guy, Alan Blanco. Good people out there at 3A Graphics, 786-618-1443. All right. Let's see. What else do we have here? Righty. Ray, sweet baby Ray. Thank you, sir, for the love on Cash App. I appreciate you, my man. He says, aced the interview, got the job. Thanks for the prayers. Awesome, man. That is awesome. Congratulations on the new gig, my man. Look forward to seeing you up there when I go cruising up there to Central Florida next time. We were there for a little bit the other day, but we just popped right out for the concert at Florida Live, or what is it? Live Plaza Live, right? That's it. Decent place, man. Decent place. Although, not necessarily the best rock. That was the one thing that was kind of lame, sweet baby Ray. And that was a lame crowd there in Orlando, I gotta say. Just to kind of start off with the little sports. You want any more information that the WNBA is a joke? I saw this note, and this will be quick because I know the WNBA isn't a big topic, but I want you to see how bad a business is. First of all, they trash their star in Caitlin Clark, don't even protect her, and all kinds of crap that goes on, and all the stupidity that goes on around Caitlin Clark and everything. So we've talked about that a ton already. Okay, that's actually a lost cause. So because of that, Caitlin Clark told them to go kick rocks when they invited her for the 3-point contest, correct? We talked about that. Well, now comes out the story that Sabrina Ionescu, who is another face of your league, like Caitlin Clark, actually been a face of the league longer than Caitlin Clark. She is one of the best players in the WNBA. She's actually super cool, super likable. If you've seen Ionescu, she's a competitive girl, which like you really admire that as an athlete. So Ionescu clarified, because a lot of people were saying, oh, she also declined an invitation to the 3-point contest. Mind you, she's the champion. And she did that whole thing shooting with Steph Curry, the 3-point contest. So she goes, she wanted to clear that up. And she goes, I can't decline an offer that I officially didn't get invited to. So I was pretty surprised to see that I never got invited, whether it's against Steph Curry or in the W. I always go out and try to beat my record every single time I step onto the court. I take pride in competing at the highest level, which is anybody that knows Sabrina Ionescu. She is a competitive, I mean, as competitive as anybody could be. Super intense. And I love representing the Liberty and the league in these contests. I just wanted to set the record straight. The rumor was simply false. So how stupid of a league are you that you don't invite your 3-point champion and you've alienated your other star that is also a 3-point beast? Just fire everyone top to bottom in the WNBA administration. All the people that are in those offices, fire every single person. The commissioner and all the clowns that work around the commissioner, because they're also part of all the disease that's in there. That is the dumbest fucking league I have ever seen in my life. Dumbest league I have ever seen in my life. How do you not invite your 3-point champion? You know, 30 years from now, your better players won't end up doing it because they'll do the same thing the men do. So you're in the early stages like we were when we used to get Michael and Dominique and Bird and everybody to do all the either a dunk or the 3-point contest. We got the best of the best. Now we don't. But when it started back in the 80s, we got the best of the best every year. And then that died out because, whatever. If you're this league, you should be milking that shit now, man. Just an absolutely stupid league. I just want to throw that out there, okay? And this is not a sexist thing or anything like that, dude, because I am one of the few people that actually supports women's sports. But I'm also not, the poetry will always be here. The poetry is not leaving the show, dude. The poetry will stay, okay? The poetry is always here. The truth is always here. We're going to talk the truth about the sports, always. And when it comes to WNBA, you could not be a dumber league than the damn WNBA. Wow, what a bunch of dumb ass people in that league. Fire everyone, dude. Everyone. What a bunch of clowns. All right, got that going on. So, plenty to talk about. David Furones will join us. We'll talk to Manny Navarro. We got a couple things that we definitely want to talk about. Do want to remind you, Welton Rayom, proud sponsors of our program. Welton Associates, that is. Personal injury, property insurance claims, bankruptcy. Reach out to Jeff Welt, 954-966-4646. And don't forget, you can also use our code BIGO10 to get 10% off at Caneswear. Go to caneswear.com. Go in person, use our code, and you can get 10% off as always. Good people out there, and they'll give you $99. When you go over $99, you will get free shipping also at Caneswear. All right. Let's see. What else did I want to talk about? There's actually a whole bunch of things that I want to talk about on the show. I do love that Sully and Half are not giving up on the quarterback position. Just because you signed Malik Willis, just because you believe in him, you brought him from Green Bay, I get it, and you inherited the other kid in Ewers, fine, no problem. I like the fact that you're bringing in the Jack Plummer kid overall. I know that the Niners, Aaron Wilson, by the way, credit to him, he broke the story that Jack Plummer was coming to work out. Now, he will work out for the Niners today. So I don't know what happens, but Kurt Warner was bagging groceries and playing in the Arena League and then took the Rams to the Super Bowl and won it. Quarterbacks are kind of like an odd bird. I saw Rich Gannon pop around Minnesota and Kansas City, and we looked at him like a jag. Like, he's just a guy, whatever, a backup, mediocre starter. That's what Rich Gannon was. Rich Gannon was a mediocre starter or a backup in those years that we saw him. And then he goes to the Raiders in the latter part of his career, and he finds the magic. And he becomes an MVP and all that kind of stuff. And so with quarterbacks, sometimes you got to land in the right spot. You got to be with the right organization. You got to be in the right scheme. You got to be the coach that understands your skill set, knows how to maximize it so you can be in the right offense. So you never know. And the Plummer kid might have something, probably not. But when you're a team that has no quarterback and you haven't had one since Marino, you have to continue to unearth and turn over every rock possible, especially at the quarterback position, because you just never know, especially with that position. It's a very odd position because the obvious doesn't always happen with the quarterback. There's a lot of oddities and examples throughout history that all of a sudden things change and you can survive with Woodstock. And you're like, what the hell is going on? So you don't have one, but you have two, and you figure out a way to use them. The oddest things happen with quarterback. Mark Rippon was not a good quarterback. But he got on a roll for a couple of years where Joe Gibbs figured out how to use him and maximize him, and then that's it. He could never repeat that ever again. When he went to the Colts or whatever, he was just never the same guy again. It's a really odd position, and sometimes the magic happens only in specific moments, specific spots, and you can win with the Nick Foles, and then nobody else will ever win with Nick Foles again. It's just kind of a tough position to gauge, and the irresponsible thing to do is to stop searching. And the beauty is these guys come from the Ron Wolf tree of Green Bay, which was passed on to Ted Thompson, which was then passed on to Gutekunst or whatever the guy's name is there now. And obviously it has influenced Sully because he's been around those guys. Keep looking for quarterbacks. Don't stop looking for quarterbacks because you don't have one. And even when you have one, go get another one. That's the Green Bay way. Oh, we have Favre, doesn't matter, we're drafting Rodgers. Oh, we have Rodgers, doesn't matter, we're drafting Love. That's how it goes. Oh, we've got Favre, doesn't matter, we're drafting Hasselbeck. We're going to trade Braum, we're going to trade Flynn, we're going to keep, we're going to trade Brunell, we're going to trade Brooks, we're going to keep bringing them in. And we still have our guy, great. We'll develop and we'll move him on and we'll just collect draft picks for him. But we'll at least keep looking for quarterbacks. I have no idea if Plummer's any good. I do know that he did throw 17 touchdowns and 1 interception. It's the UFL. But the efficiency cannot be just overlooked. That has to be appreciated, actually, as a coach, as a front office. So bring him in, give him a chance, see what happens, whatever. You certainly don't have a quarterback. And I don't believe in Malik Willis myself, even though they do. So I'm glad that they're bringing this kid in. No idea if they even sign him next week. Maybe he signs with the Niners today. I have no idea. But I saw that news, and it'll be something that will be overlooked overall. But I just wanted to give you the big picture of it. That's what you want to keep doing, is you want to keep looking for quarterbacks. That's what you need. By the way, I was hanging out with Alan yesterday at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. We're out there for the event that they had for the EVs. For those of you that went out there and had some free snacks and drinks and all that, maybe you took a test drive, which they are absolutely amazing. I want a Trail Seeker badly, actually. I want the next car I get will be an SUV, because as I get older now, I want to move away from cars and I want to go to SUV, and I definitely want to get electric. Definitely get electric for sure. Get something that gets me 300 plus miles. That way I know I could go to Disney and then charge. You know what I'm saying? Although Disney's just like 200 and something, but you want to have like a little buffer. So something like that. I can't wait. Anyway, so go visit our friends at Subaru of Pembroke Pines at 16100 Pines Boulevard. Tell them that I sent you. Alan is the general manager out there. Eric Stampone. I was hanging out with him yesterday also. So go on out there. Tell them that Big O sent you, and they'll take care of you. And you can get some great deals out there. And you can also get $500 off. When you mention my name, you will get $500 off. The Crosstrek right now, you can get it for $179 a month, 1.9% financing. The Impreza, you can get it for $207 a month, 2.9% financing. The Outback Premium, $277 a month, 2.9% financing. And the Subaru Ascent Premium, hell of a vehicle, $337 a month, 1.9% financing. Check the ratings when it comes to safety. When it comes to customer ratings, it's through the roof, usually number one when it comes to Subaru, and the reliability is through the roof. Visit our friends at Subaru of Pembroke Pines. All right, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Use the QR codes there. If you want to make a donation and send in your questions, comments, insults, we always appreciate that. Thank you all out there as always. Let me, you know what? Let me do quickly before I continue with news, sports, and interviews and stuff like that. Let's get to a little music. All right. Let's do famous people born on the 24th. We start off with Tord Overland Knudsen, bass player for the Wombats, born in 82. Jennifer Lopez, J-Lo, born in 69 on this date. Paul Geary, drummer with Extreme, born in 61. Let's see who else is celebrating birthdays today. Pam Tillis, country music singer and daughter of Mel Tillis, born in 57. Graham Lear, drummer with Gino Vanelli, Santana, Paul Anka, and a little REO Speedwagon, born in 49. Jim Armstrong with Van Morrison, born in 1944. Now we move over to other famous people born on this date. Remember, if I don't give you an age, unfortunately, they have passed away. We start off with writer Robert Graves, born in 1895. Aviator Amelia Earhart, born in 1897. Political cartoonist Pat Oliphant, born in 1935. Actor Chris Sarandon, born in 42, 84 today. Comedian Gallagher, smashed that watermelon, born in 46. Actor Michael Richards, born in 49. He is 77 today. Actress Linda Carter, Wonder Woman, born in 51. She's 75. Basketball Hall of Fame member Karl Malone, the mailman, 63. He's 63. Former MLB player and juicer Barry Bonds, born in 64. He's 62. Actor Kadeem Hardison, born in 65. He's 61. Actress, musician Kristen Chenoweth, born in 68. She's 58. Actress Laura Layton, born in 68, 58. Actress Rose Byrne, born in 79, 47. Nayib Bukele, the president of El Salvador, born in 81, 45. Actress Elizabeth Moss, born in 82, 44. Actress Anna Paquin, the vampire, born in 82, she's 44. Actress Emilia Rickards, born in 91, 35. And that is famous people born on this date. Now we move over to what happened today in music history. Start off in 64. Marvin Gaye recorded How Sweet It Is to Be Loved by You, written by Motown team of Holland, Dozier, and Holland. The title comes from one of Jackie Gleason's catchphrases. In 77, the original Led Zeppelin lineup played their last ever show in the United States. 2 days after the concert, which was held in Oakland Coliseum, Robert Plant learned that his 5-year-old son, Carrick, had died to a stomach infection and canceled the rest of their tour. Jesus. In 78, the film Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band opened and tanked hard. Savaged by critics, it barely broke even at the box office and became a legendary Hollywood flop, despite appearances by Peter Frampton, the Bee Gees, Aerosmith, Alice Cooper, Tina Turner, and others. The movie did produce a handful of notable Beatles covers, however, such as Earth, Wind, and Fire's Got to Get You Into My Life. I remember my mom took me to the theater. I think we saw it in Miami Beach, one of the theaters in Miami Beach, like the Roxy or the Cameo or whatever, back in the day. In 82, Survivor started a 6-week run at number 1 on the U.S. singles charts with Eye of the Tiger, taken from the Rocky III film. The song was written by Survivor guitarist Frankie Sullivan and keyboardist Jim Petterick and was recorded at the request of Sylvester Stallone after Queen denied him permission to use Another One Bites the Dust. Fun fact, Eye of the Tiger was originally made for the movie The Karate Kid. As the director of both Rocky and The Karate Kid, John G. Avildsen planned to use the song for a fighting montage toward the end of the feature. Avildsen opted to use You're the Best by Joe Esposito for the montage instead. What a journey. Both were big hits, although one was bigger than the other, but still. In 93, U2 started a 2-week run at #1 on the U.S. album charts with Zooropa, the Irish band's 4th U.S. album. Meanwhile, on the U.S. singles charts, UB40 started a 7-week run at #1 on their cover of I Can't Help Falling in Love with You, a big day for the U bands. In 2000, NSYNC had the #1 single with It's Gonna Be Me. In 2001, Bob Seger's boat, previous boat, was struck by lightning, won its division in the 291-mile race in Michigan with a time of 30 hours and 34 minutes and 42 seconds. Seger was one of the 11 crew members on board. In 2014, Chubby Checker settled the lawsuit with Hewlett-Packard over the app, the Chubby Checker. The app, which sold for 99 cents, purported to estimate a man's member size based on his shoe size. Okay. In 2020, Taylor Swift released her 8th studio album, Folklore. Swift conceived the album during quarantine, describing it as a collection of songs and stories that flowed like a stream of consciousness. Let's see if there's any birthdays that weren't on the other list. No, that is it. Oh, wait a minute. One. Linval Golding of the Specials. That's important. He's 75 today. And that's what happened today in music history. It's a beautiful thing. Now you know. All right. And now we go to the one and only David Furones with our Welt and Associates Miami Dolphins report.
All rise, football fans, as the Welton Associates PA Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session. Welton Associates PA, where clients get direct communication, strategic guidance, and strong advocacy when life takes an unexpected turn. From property insurance disputes to personal injuries and bankruptcies, call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider, David Furones.
Rock and roll, rock and roll. How you doing, baby? You doing good?
That's right. That's right, Big O. Happy Friday. And one more show until it's training camp, at least veteran report day. If we do next week the same way, Tuesday and Friday, I don't know. We'll have to figure that out with camp starting. But, yeah, it finally gets going here.
Well, while you're in the stands watching them, I would imagine Storm is hanging out in the canal in the back, right? Because he's on the physically unable to perform list.
Storm Duck and Daryl Baker Jr., the new cornerback.
Who? What?
Big O, you didn't keep up with the whole offseason? Hey, this guy was a starter last year for the Tennessee Titans, albeit. But
what? Who's that? No, but seriously, Storm, at least, it's the name, whatever. Because
he was here.
He's really more of a name, not really a player. That's the thing. It's just kind of, he's lived off of a really cool name. And so that's why I'm just saying, so he'll be hanging out in the canal in the back, I guess, and we'll have to wait till they can activate him when he's fully healthy.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't go that way because that first, I mean, all right, if you would have gone by his name, he would have been drafted. First of all, he was undrafted #1. Made the roster though. I mean, significantly making plays, like legitimately making plays that first training camp that he had as an undrafted rookie. So, I mean, the guy earned his spot the first year. He was still kind of like an end of the bench corner on the depth chart, low on the depth chart. But then going into year 2 last year, this guy, actually, he was a starter week 1, got hurt in that first game. And then once he came back from that one, got hurt again. First it was the ankle, then it was the knee, and then a serious knee injury, ACL tear. So that has now had him rehabbing the whole offseason. So, I know what you're saying because you haven't seen him a lot, even though you hear his name so much, and you hear his name because it is absolutely a cool name.
Right.
But yeah, it's the injuries that have held him back at this point.
He's more like Donald or Daffy. He's really.
God.
What do you want me to do, bro? I mean, we haven't gotten anything out of the guy. I'm just saying a couple of plays here or there in camp or whatever. That's it's like we're going into year 3 now. This is another one of those guys that hangs out multiple years and like, yo, dude, like, come on, let's go. You had the tight end that hung out here for like 4 years. You had Skylar Thompson hanging out for like nearly 3 years doing nothing. It's just like all these guys that hang around forever and they don't end up doing anything. So I'm just wondering, like, Storm Duck has become really good at being a lame duck.
Wow, you've got all the puns going this morning. I mean, when he comes back from this one, so I mean, a lot of guys, they have a season-ending injury the year before, they end up starting the next year on PUP. That's how this goes. If it's a thing where he's able to get back during camp, which I mean, I remember seeing him OTAs, minicamp, making progress. So I would imagine it's something where at some point in camp, he's probably, assuming he's remained on that same track, assuming there's been no setback, anything like that, then he's got to start producing once he gets back in the fold. And if not, then it's looking the way of, like you said, a guy who's just been hanging around, and then now you haven't gotten any production out of him. And it's unfortunate because I feel like he was on at least some sort of track, because even if last year it was because there wasn't a surefire starting cornerback and it was a ragtag group that they were trying to put together at corner, Storm Duck was that top guy actually through the end of camp, and then he was starting, and then a couple of veterans and Jack Jones and Rasul Douglas, especially since he was a late signing, and he didn't really participate in camp last year. But Rasul Douglas ended up being that top dog as a corner once Duck went down, and Douglas like signed right off the street within a week or so, goes right in and starts balling like we know he can. So, but I mean, yeah, he's a guy that's got to start producing once he gets back.
I love how you've described the lame duck pretty much. All right. All right. Don't forget, folks, Welton Associates, Jeff Welt's number. You got to have it because we are in the middle of hurricane season all the way to November. And you can suffer damage at any time, water damage, wind damage. It doesn't even have to be a hurricane. Roof damage starts at even 40 miles an hour up. Chapter 7, Chapter 13, Chapter 11. It's happening a lot out there. If you're dealing with bankruptcy issues, get those creditors off of you. Property insurance claims, car accidents, truck accidents, motorcycle accidents, slip and falls. Call Welton Associates now, 954-966-4646. The consultation is completely free. The guys you have running the team are from Green Bay. And one of the things that I like that I saw yesterday was Aaron Wilson broke the news that the Dolphins are going to bring in Jack Plummer. And he is the UFL kid, and he threw 17 touchdowns and 1 interception. To me, that's not something you overlook at any level, that kind of efficiency. But what I love is no matter how much you're in love with Malik Willis, you never stop looking for a quarterback. And that was the Green Bay way. That's the way Ron Wolf established it, and Ted Thompson, and obviously, and so on and so forth. And Sully has been influenced. Maybe Jack Plummer signs today with the Niners since he's working out with them. Maybe he signs next week with the Dolphins. Maybe he doesn't sign at all because they don't like what they see, whatever. But the point for me is I like the fact that they're going to continue to turn over every rock and anywhere when it comes to the quarterback position.
Yeah, I mean, look for wherever you can to find that quarterback. We've talked about it so much, how the history that Green Bay has in doing exactly this. So one thing that always sticks out to me, John Eric Sullivan has said, is that I don't know if this is verbatim, but that roster acquisitions, it's a 365 day type of deal, that it never stops. You're just always looking for who that next guy is that you can add. So yeah, it's looking to a UFL and a very successful UFL quarterback, MVP over there. And if the Dolphins are running a similar type of offense as what the 49ers are doing, then clearly there's a belief that there can be a fit. Bobby Slowick is going to do a lot of the same Shanahan coaching tree stuff that you're seeing in San Francisco. So that'll be a similarity from what Mike McDaniel had done the previous 4 seasons. So at least there's some offensive continuity as the regime has changed. But yeah, I mean, and the player on the roster who would be really at risk is it's probably for that number 4 Mark Gronowski spot, who had some tough moments in OTAs and minicamp, and yeah, he was an undrafted kid. So that's kind of where I don't know if we're looking at Jack Plummer like right away is going to be really competing for a roster spot or to move up the depth chart, but it'll be another training camp arm if they do end up bringing him on. And you never know what you can find out of that. Maybe he could elevate himself to the 3rd spot, where it's currently held by Cam Miller, who was at the end of last season a pickup of the previous regime, but that at least this regime in Sullivan is still trying to see what they can find in him. So you create competition at that position, and then see where it goes and see who surfaces from that, and then just every next level. If it's you keep 3 quarterbacks and he ends up being one of them, great pickup, and then maybe he ends up doing something down the road.
Dude, you have to do that. Jeff Garcia came out of the Canadian League and helped San Francisco. Kurt Warner was bagging groceries and playing in the Arena League after Green Bay let him go. And then he went to the Rams, and the rest is history. Rich Gannon did nothing in his first 7-9 years or something like that, popping around Kansas City and Minnesota looking like a backup or a bad starter. And then he goes to Oakland and he becomes an MVP. You never know when the quarterback position is a really odd position, because Steve Young will look great at BYU, and then he'll get drafted in the USFL and he'll kick ass for the LA Express. But then Tampa holds his rights. USFL goes down. He goes to Tampa and he looks like shit. And then all of a sudden, Bill Walsh is like, that's Tampa over there. Those idiots don't know how to do anything. Hey, I'll trade him for it. And so they trade for Steve Young, and he goes and wins a Super Bowl after Montana leaves. And the rest is history. That Steve Young looked great in 3 places, but he didn't look good in 1. You know what I mean? And so sometimes your quarterback, Mark Rippon, he had a nice little run with Joe Gibbs, won a Super Bowl. And then when he went to the Colts and other places to try to look the same way, he never could, because he had that one window where he had the right coach. They gave him the right talent around him to make him look better than what he really was. And then when he went somewhere else to a bad organization that you have to carry a little more, he wasn't that guy and he got exposed. So quarterback position is like a really interesting position that you have to understand the player. You have to know how to complement the player, or you have to know what they can or cannot do. Some guys might be able to carry you through some things. Other guys aren't necessarily built that way. What you have to do is build around him, and he'll make the plays for you. You know what I mean? But ad-libbing and picking up. So you got to know what kind of quarterback you have. You got to understand who you are as a team and all those kind of things. For me, that's what you always have to do. You have to keep plucking away at quarterbacks, and you have to understand who you are and what you can get out of them.
Yeah, interesting you say that about Mark Ripien because I didn't even know any other team that he played for because he was before my football consciousness. So the only thing I know him as is, okay, I've seen his name as Super Bowl MVP for that Washington team one year. So I don't even have a recollection of him with the Colts. So I was like, who else did he play for? And you said it. So that was the first time I hear of it. Sam Darnold is another one right now in the other way where, he's had his tough moments and then he gets picked up. Minnesota has a good year. Seattle now wins the Super Bowl. So it can just go like that for you as a quarterback. And you can still have the talent there, but then it's a matter of blossoming and flourishing in the correct system to suit that. And it's just so much else that goes into it with the wide receivers that you have, having synchronicity with them, an offensive line that's giving you time and protection. The play calls coming in and being in sync with it's just incredible how much goes into those 40 seconds at most to just make that one play happen, which is one out of maybe 70, 80 in a game on one side of the ball. So I don't know. That just turned very philosophical at some point, but
no, I got you. He played for Cleveland right after Washington, St. Louis, Philly, St. Louis, Indy.
Wow.
And Indy brought him back at 39. Like, they needed he was retired for 3 years.
That was a Phillip Rivers type move there.
It was a Phillip Rivers type move, dude. Okay. And he went 14-2 in that year, 91. But he threw 28 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. He never did that again. Like, that kind of year. The year right after he went 13-17.
Okay. Yeah. Well, Washington won with 3 different quarterbacks under Joe Gibbs.
None of them Hall of Famers. They can buy a ticket to go into the Hall of Fame like you and me, but they won't ever be Hall of Fame. Doug Williams, Joe Theismann, and Mark Rippon will never be in the Hall of Fame. By the way, all good quarterbacks during their run with although Doug Williams was a good quarterback overall because he did a lot of shit in Tampa, and he played with some bad teams, and he had to carry them and stuff. Doug was a better quarterback than he got credit for. He was a good quarterback. Mark Rippon was not a good quarterback. He just had like a moment in time. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of what it is. And Joe Theismann was a solid quarterback too throughout his career, but neither guy was a Hall of Famer. No, Doug or Joe. But those are good quarterbacks. Mark Rippon was not a good quarterback. He just had a little 2-year stretch where he played really good football because Joe Gibbs gave him, all that. But again, going back to the original point, just don't stop searching for quarterbacks. And I like that because I don't want to see bias. I know you have a bias to Malik Willis, but you can't be at a bias to a point that it is detrimental to you. Because if he's really not the guy and you pass up on opportunities for a guy that could be in the draft or a trade or a street free agent like Jack Plummer, you just never know, dude. You just never know.
Yeah, no, certainly. That's the Green Bay way to do it. It's the correct way, especially when you don't have your franchise quarterback. So you don't know, even though you want to entrust Malik Willis as much as possible. You want to give him as much confidence as you can. And you can do all those things while still making sure on the back end you're covered and have your contingency plans in order. So absolutely, it's the right way to go about it.
The Derek Brooks stuff happened after we talked. Thank the Lord they got the contract.
Derek Brooks, they got Derek Brooks.
Jordan Brooks. Always, dude. The Jordan Brooks deal got done, and for me, it was more about, bro, this is your first year. Get rid of all distractions, including Tua, because that was a distraction from the last regime. Why are you going to bring it on to yours now? So start with a clean slate. And that's what they've done to start next week, is that when their veterans report, they've got a completely clean slate, no controversies, no holdovers from last year. I mean, the most controversial thing we're talking about is about a lame duck.
Yeah. Funny. I mean, we get off the show and then within like an hour or so after I get off the show, I don't know, you might've still been on air when it happened. Jordan Brooks.
I was right at the end of the show. It was.
Yeah, it was right. It had to be right at the end of the show because it was still barely morning, right before it turned over to noon. So get the Jordan Brooks deal done. I had a feeling like once you get within that last week before camp, and then the coaches are obviously in there and they're welcoming the rookies at that point. Now it's sort of like business is kicking back up. After a lot of guys spent time away from, had vacation and stuff, that month prior, once you got through OTAs and minicamp, finished that up. So, just business picking back up. And then they finally got the Jordan Brooks deal done. So 3 for 3 for John Eric Sullivan in extending Achane, Brewer, now Brooks, 3 high character guys that Sullivan established, identified as the pillars that he wants to build around. So foundational pieces who, aren't going to stray away. You never know, but you hope that they don't switch once they lock in that money and that extension, because we've seen too many stories of that. I mean, the last quarterback the Dolphins had that was given a big contract in Tua, as soon as he got the money, then it kind of turned with how he acted around the team and how he performed. So, but you try to identify the guys that you believe won't switch up like that. And then, I mean, these are 3 pretty good picks at that. Guys that are going to keep working and instill that culture going forward that the Dolphins want to bring that is similar to what the Packers have had for so many years. If you can have that in Miami and you establish a solid core of guys who aren't going to be go into the world of distractions that Miami has to offer, then and they're going to be about their football and they're going to perform and they're going to show up on time and do things the right way. Those are the guys you want at your core. That now, as you have a lot of rookies, that rookie class, they learn from these type of veterans. So that's a good way to start. No matter what the wins and losses are this year, is having those right character guys in place is how you want to get things rolling in year one.
Welton Associates, reach out to Jeff Welt if you're dealing with issues like personal injury, property insurance claims, bankruptcy, debt relief options, business debt issues. They can help you. Also, fire, smoke damage, wrongful death claims. Reach out to Welton Associates, 954-966-4646. The consultation's completely free, and they've been a great sponsor of our program for the last 7 years. Jeff has been at this for well over 20 years. AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. This guy is top notch, man. Jeff will help you out. What do you got going on in the Sentinel so folks can check you out, sir?
Yeah, we've been wrapping up our Countdown to Camp series. The last one I wrote this week is with Tyreek and Jalen Waddle gone, who will step up among Dolphins pass catchers. Also earlier in the week, wrote about rookie cornerback Chris Johnson and his fit into the secondary. And then as we go into next week, I'll be just putting together an overall preview of camp, probably a lot to do with the competition that's going to be going on and how that will be at the forefront of what this new Dolphins regime does. So definitely make sure to check that out.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _ David, as always, thank you, my brother. Have a fantastic weekend. We'll catch up on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Sounds good.
This has been another session of Wealth and Associates PA, Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones, the law firm that knows your name and your case. Wealth and Associates PA. Get personal attention from a firm that treats you like a person, not a file. We're proud to serve individual families and businesses with a commitment to treating every client with respect while providing aggressive representation you deserve. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Wealth and Associates PA.
All right. Don't forget, reach out to our friends at Acura of Pembroke Pines, 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 and Pines. And right now they've got the Summer of Performance sales event going on, the 2026 Integra I mean, this is such a badass car. You can actually get that for your young person starting off, college, new car, $239 a month. They can drive around an incredible car like an Acura, an Integra, super reliable, great vehicle, 2.9% financing for 60 months. That's ridiculous. The ADX, it's in its second year, 289 a month, 3.9% financing for 60 months. The RDX, 419 a month. The MDX, 489 a month. Just ridiculous, man. Go out there, go see Larry Schlossberg, Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone. They will make it happen for you, man. Good people. And if you happen to own or lease an Acura, make sure you can get it serviced there too. Mike Chan, Jordan Ferber, they do excellent work, man. There at Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you all out there, as always, for supporting the show. We appreciate you all. Don't forget, hit the like button, all right? And you can make a donation to the show, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show.
There's just one place to enjoy your Acura Summer of Performance event, Acura of Pembroke Pines. So hit the road in the new RDX, $419 a month. Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. That is Manny Navarro. And let me see if I can actually get the right board on there. There we go. Now I got the right. No, that's Steve's. Wow. Okay, hold on. No, that's all right. Well, no, that's that. Wait a minute. Hold on. Where am I? Oh, there we are. There's the Canes one. Now I got it. All right. How you doing, my brother? You doing good?
Hanging in there, man. I've been at SEC Media Days up to yesterday, and then now I'm over here at the American Football Conference in St. Petersburg. They smartly decided to schedule theirs right after SEC to get some media over here.
Okay. Let's talk about the SEC becoming NFL 2.
Yeah, I think Greg Sankey and the school presidents and the people around the SEC, it's something that is a serious discussion, in terms of breaking away from the NCAA and wanting to become sort of their own entity, essentially, which the Athletic has been writing about for a while now, in terms of, does college sports form into a legitimate sort of power conference structure where it's 30 teams and NFL 2 as you describe it. And I think a lot of it just has to do with the frustration that the conference feels when it comes to the playoff berths, right? It's a 12-team playoff. The SEC just adopted a 9th conference game last year. Texas had a bad loss to Florida, but their other loss was to Georgia and to Ohio State, and they didn't make the playoff. And so a guy like Steve Sarkisian is pissed because he plays a really tough schedule and doesn't get into the playoffs. So that's the genesis of all this stuff. Do I think we're headed that way soon? I still think we're several years away, but I think when those new TV contracts come up in 2029, it's going to be a real interesting time, no doubt.
Yeah, because the TV and those big conferences are going to get together and say, we can do our own thing here, and we can sidestep all the BS and get rid of the middleman. And that's basically what they're going to end up doing, because the middleman ends up taking a lot of money, and that's going to end up being more money for the conferences. And I could just end up seeing that the Big Ten and the SEC end up breaking away when it's all said and done, and it becomes the super conferences that we've been talking about forever.
Yeah, and so I think the news this week of Sankey basically confirming, like, hey, it's not just a bunch of pissed off people talking crap. It's legitimate conversation. Elevates this story to a different level because it's not just somebody's idea anymore. It's an actual conversation. And as I said, we're in 2026. The TV contract discussion is going to start to come up soon. I know the SEC is signed through 2032, but I think the Big Ten's contract is up before it. So, right now the Big Ten is the king of college football. They've won the last 3 national championships. The SEC certainly is motivated to do something to change the status quo.
The other thing that's going to be the domino effect of this is it's going to be the destruction of college sports,
Yeah,
because
which is
the second those two conferences pop and they become their own entities, football conferences, they become whatever, two super leagues, and they're playing against each other. All that money goes to that, and all those other sports. And I know people are going to say, "Well, they don't produce any money, this, that," but you know, there's a little bit more to that. A lot. Most of those people are getting an education actually, because they're not moving on to pro
right.
sports, because there isn't pro sports for somebody that's in rowing or something. It's completely different. Very few volleyball players are going to go out and become beach volleyball players and make some money or something like that. But most of them are graduating, and that's kind of what you are. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
sports it's going to be very recreational.
Yeah,
It's not going to, because money's money, dude, and it costs a lot of money to travel and to do all that kind of stuff, and
yeah,
you're going to see a lot of that shit is going to disappear, dude.
yeah. I think a lot of the Olympic sports, for sure. When you think about, you know, it's already happening. There's some schools that have dropped certain sports, and I think that we're gonna get to an era probably within the next 5 years where instead of having 300 schools playing volleyball or 300 schools playing softball or whatever the number is. I know it's not a big number for every sport, but
Right.
those numbers will shrink and schools will ultimately pick, hey, this is what we're going to pour our money into, which makes everything with Title IX really interesting and what happens to women's sports. And so but yeah, I think
Women's
this is an
sports is
yeah.
women's sports is going to get absolutely abolished.
Well, I
Absolutely.
think I think look, as long as Title IX exists, men's sports are probably more in danger, like men's soccer in college and
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
that kind of stuff. Wrestling might be affected. I mean, we'll have to see
But you could
financially.
Title IX all you want. If there ain't money, there ain't money, bro.
Yeah, yeah. No, well, yeah. That's the interesting part of this all. And just bringing it back to football for a second, I'm here at the American Media Day, the American Football Conference, where I ran into Jakari Brown, former Hurricanes quarterback, who's now at Rice. And you know, the interesting conversation to me, you talk about young people and what they go to college for and everything else. Uh, so many of the kids at these schools have been to the Power Four, like Jakari, and not panned out, and now that they're on their third school, still trying to figure life out. And I think that's something that probably isn't written enough about. I mean, Jakari's a smart kid. He already got his degree from when he was at UCF. He's working on a master's at Rice, and Rice is obviously a really good school. That's a good place to get a master's degree from. But how many kids that are run off never finish college because of the way the sport is now, where coaches are running off players and not finishing, their education? That's another, side of this story. And most of my conversations today with a lot of these coaches has been about, having to rebuild rosters every year and bringing 71 players in because, all your best players are getting taken by the P4. And then you have a guy like Nick Saban coming out and saying, well, the P4 should only play the P4. It's like these schools need this money. They need to play those games, the G6 schools. So there's so many things going on. Oh, it's the amount of topics and the amount of different conversations we've been covering here the last couple of days. Just, it's you think you come here to talk football, you really don't. You come to talk about everything else. And
Yeah,
that's just the state of college sports at the moment.
greed is going to take over, and that's just unfortunate that that's what's going to end up, hurting everything. Because in the end, it's going to be all about money, and that's what's going to be the driving factor of it all. Uh, on the Kane side, I mean, we got to just say it the way it is. Does Mario realize it's undefeated or bust for the regular season?
Yeah, I think maybe not undefeated or bust, but I would say 11-1 or bust, because I think if they finish 11-1, win all the games they're supposed to, let's say they lose to Notre Dame, they're probably still getting into the college football playoff field.
I agree with you, but you're getting in with a black eye.
Sure, and you're going to
You're
have to
getting
play a
in
road
again
game.
with the
You're going to play a road game again. You're not going to have any sort of conveniences with the process. But I think it's 11 and 1 or bust. But your point is well taken. Like you cannot lose 2 games this year in the regular season like you did last year, and not win the conference championship again and make it because you don't have any real marquee opponents in the ACC. I mean, Clemson is down. That's one opponent that normally would be up. You have Florida State, who's down. That's normally an opponent you would look at the schedule 5 years ago and say, yeah, that's going to be a hell of a schedule. Notre Dame, Clemson, Florida State, all on the same schedule. No, not anymore. So, you're right. I think your bigger point is taken here. And look, from talking to people across college football, there's no excuse, man. Like this team is loaded. And they've got an excellent quarterback, probably top 3, top 4 at his position. We ranked him number 4 this week in our QB tiers for college football. That's just as a college player, not an NFL prospect. Just college. Darian Mensah's number 4. So, like, what is your excuse? You have to win all the games you're supposed to win, and I don't see how they don't.
Yeah, you better overall. All right, don't forget our friends at Acura Pembroke Pines, 15601 Pines Boulevard, just off of I-75 in Pines. Number 1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States, year in and year out. Larry Schlossberg and Pat Nasto, Tony Stampone. Go see them out there. They've got the Summer of Performance sales event going on right now. If you own or lease an Acura, you can also get it serviced there. Mike Chan, Jordan Ferber, they do excellent work out there. By the way, you can get the RDX right now, great deal. The MDX, RDX $419 a month, the MDX $489 a month, absolute joke. 15601 Pines Boulevard. What do you got going on in the athletics so folks can check you out, my friend?
Well, I just wrote a story about Arch Manning, who we all remember had a really rough start to last season and then finished really strong. So I was talking to Sarkisian and all those guys yesterday. What do you think of Manning as a prospect?
I like him so far. I like what I've seen. And here's the thing, dude. I'm old, dude. I've watched all the Mannings. I would not count this kid out whatsoever. No. And he's the worst out of all of them because he has to carry the reputation of all of them. And poor Archie ended up on a horrible football team, but we all know that we're old enough to watch him. He was a much better quarterback. He was just in a terrible situation. The other 2 were successful. I like this kid. And considering that he has to grow up with the Manning name and all, and I know how he would like the whole thing about he would like to be under the radar, but like he's stuck with that damn name and the expectations that come with it. And it's kind of LeBron-like that LeBron had no history, but they had already gave him like, okay, he's the second coming. So all of a sudden the kid had to live up to that, and he did. And that's unfortunate for this kid too. He has the Manning name and the Manning hype and all that stuff that comes with it, and Texas and all that. And so nothing about him is under the radar, unfortunately. And he has to live with that, which makes it even harder for him to succeed on top of all of that because the expectations are already there. But overall, I like the kid. It's just, of course, I want to see more. But so far, considering all the shit that he has to deal with, I think he's done a pretty good job overall, man.
He really has, and I think you look at the second half of that season. You saw a kid playing with confidence, and that's really what he was lacking at the beginning of the year. I mean, listen, your first game as the starter, you lose at Ohio State 14-7. You don't necessarily play well, and then you get your ass handed to you in Gainesville because they sack you 6 times. And I think he's a good kid. I think you're right. He's grown up under immense pressure because of that last name. I think it's affected him. I think the media attention has affected him. He certainly doesn't appreciate, being in that spotlight. But you know what? I think he's got the goods, and I think that's what matters in the end. And I think he's going to be a good player at the next level.
Good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Manny_Navarro and catch his work there at The Athletic. Manny, as always, thank you, my brother. Appreciate you. Have a great weekend, and we will catch up next week.
Absolutely. Take care.
There's just one place to enjoy your Acura Summer of Performance event, Acura of Pembroke Pines. So hit the road in the new ADX, $289 a month. Acura of Pembroke Pines, the #1 volume Acura dealer.
All right. Sloman's Home Shield, #1, 2. I got my home protected by Sloman's. You can get yours in 49 of 50 states. Get that shield link, baby. And tell them that I sent you. 1-888 alarm me. All right. What else do we have here? A little roll call. What we got on the chat board? Gus 1388 says we're living in bizarro times. Liking like a movie is enough for someone to label you MAGA. Whatever happened to common sense? Feels like we're living in the era of tribalism and cult-like thinking. Yes, there is. There's a lot of cult-like thinking out there. Dolphin Dave is in the house. Let's see. Big Jonsen. Stephen Harris. If Arch Manning does not get Texas to the playoffs, is he still the #1 pick in the draft? Well, I don't know, Dolphin Dave. Is it his fault they weren't there, or is it someone else's fault? Is it coaching? Is it a bad team? Is it a bad offensive line? I don't know. You're throwing out a hypothetical without having to really know what happened in the season. I don't do that shit where I put everything on the quarterback. It's a team game. If your team doesn't support the quarterback, what are you going to do? Jaybird in the house. Pipeman Slim. True Fin fan. Fitzgrass checking in from Naples. Stephen Harris. Anthony Kyle Campos. Jeff in Long Island. Kosa. Let's see. Praying that our Dolphins stay injury-free during training camp in the preseason. Hails to the yeah. That's what I want most out of training camp, dude. Just stay healthy. I think Sophie Cunningham's a baddie, says Anthony Kyle Campos. Ty in the Bronx, Ray Varnegas, Brian Landis. Steve Calbo reminds me of Chaz Palminteri. All right. John Padilla. Let's see. I am on my second Prius. Very reliable. Oh, God, Priuses are awesome, dude. Always been awesome. And if you have the newer version now, those things are super cool. Like, I get the people that didn't like the initial Priuses because they were boxy and kind of geeky. I didn't mind them, actually. I like them. But I do understand that the ones that are now, oh, man, they look, wow, the last couple of years, sporty Priuses. Really nice, dude. Really, really nice. Super nice. Think Blue Dodgers in the house. Let's see. I've heard Storm has been recovering this offseason despite the doctor being a quack. It's funny because we've talked so much about an undrafted guy, and he's done absolutely nothing. Made a couple plays in camp, and then that's it. Constantly injured, dude. It's just kind of, you get tiresome of those guys. Like the tight end that hung out here for a while, and it just several players, it seems to happen over the last few years where they just hang out and do absolutely nothing from one year to another, and yet they make the roster, and they make the roster again, and they make the roster again, and you're like, come on, Mel. Start doing something. I would imagine this is his last year, whether he's got to do something for these guys, and he's screwed because his head coach is a DB coach. So He's going to have really critical eyes on his ass. The fact that they're looking at QBs while having one signed is absolutely refreshing when it comes to this franchise. May the best man win. Exactly. You got to keep looking for a QB until even if you have a stud, you should still look for QBs. But I understand if you have a stud and you're comfortable that you're not like necessarily turning over every rock and going crazy. But when you're Miami, where you're at now, since post Marino, which is a long freaking time, yeah, you need to turn over every damn rock you can. Everyone. Until you can find that stud. Then you can take your time to, okay, we'll draft this kid and we can develop him. We'll have his rights for a few years and that kind of stuff. I have no faith in Malik Willis, says Jessica. Well, neither do I, but that's their guy. So we have to find out. Maybe they're right. And maybe, Jessica, you and I are wrong. Dolphins says, Big O, I never realized that the Dolphins drafted Pro Bowler Gary Fensick, but cut him back in 76. Crazy. I don't even remember that myself, actually. But that's, again, understandable. That guys fall through the cracks. That's happened before. I still got the Fins at 3 wins. Yeah. 2 wins, 3 wins. Yeah. I think they'll struggle to get to the second win. But 3, it's possible. Why not? Let's see. Quite possible. I have hope he doesn't lose games with his arm. Okay. True Fin Fan. I think Manny had, and thank you for this super chat, True Fin Fan. I think Manny was going with that lens that the ladies use on Instagram when they want to like kind of look a little sexier. They put that lens. I think that's what Manny was doing. He wanted to look a little sexier for you guys, so he put that lens that's a little bit more shaded. I think that's what it was. It wasn't that it's dirty or fogged. No. That was planned. Manny Navarro was trying to give you guys the sexy report. And if you didn't notice the sexiness oozing from the screen, I mean, I can't help you overall. There's no way. Oh, let's see what else. Daniel Guzman, good morning to you in Greenville, South Carolina. Edward Thurston Howe. Let's see. Big O, which unit do you think is going to be better for the offense for sure? For sure, the offense. Yeah, if Malik can play the offense, that's where they've got a possibility of 5 linemen because you're putting Savanaya back at his original right guard spot. Your Proctor kid is your number 1 pick, so he better play good at left guard. And Austin Jackson, he's a really good right tackle. He just needs to stay healthy. So you've got more of a possibility, whereas on the D-line, you got all the question marks with the young guys. You have no pass rush whatsoever. You have no secondary. Your receivers aren't great, but once you get Chris Bell back, I like that. You got a decent tight end that can at least – you got like a number 2 tight end playing number 1 in Dolcic, but he's at least a possession guy. You got a great running back, overall. I think your offense has got a chance to be somewhat productive. Somewhat. Your defense, I think, is going to be one of the worst defenses you've ever seen in your life as a Miami Dolphins fan. That's what I think you're going to see. One of the worst defenses in Dolphin history. But it's understandable that it should be one of the worst defenses in Dolphin history. I don't think I think there's a lot of Dolphin fans that are really not prepared for this season. And that's because there's always a group of Dolphin fans that never want to look at reality. And they always, they're the ones that thought that last year was a playoff team. That's exactly the same people. Same people that, the second you draft Ryan Tannehill, They think, oh, we're going to be a playoff team perennially. Or, X gets 10 interceptions. We need to hang on to him because he's going to do this now every year. He's going to be getting a ton of interceptions. That fan, the internal optimist that never really looks at reality, because I always feel that the internal optimist fan of anything is the person that needs to convince themselves of everything positive because they can't deal with the reality. That's usually what I feel from the internal optimist. They won't root the same or feel it. Like I root the same, feel the same, whether I know they're great or they're not. It doesn't matter. I'm still going to be sitting there rooting for them, wanting for them. But when I know they suck, what am I going to do? I know they suck. I got to come to the realization. I tried to tell a lot of you that last year, right? That internal optimist will not allow that to enter their psyche. They need to convince themselves that Malik Willis will be the next franchise guy, just like Ryan Tannehill was going to be, just like whoever. Culpepper, you name it. Doesn't matter. It's always been like that with that internal optimist. And I think we have a group of those. Plus, you get, again, sorry, Omar, I love you, brother, but I got to pick on you because you say some crazy, stupid shit. And when you get people in the media that start telling you, no, if this goes well and that goes well, you can get 10 wins. And there is no fucking way you're going to get any, and you're not going to get anywhere near 5, much less 10, 8, 9, whatever. And then when it doesn't happen, that internal optimist becomes really depressed because they didn't take the time to bring themselves back to reality. It's kind of like the internal optimist Marlins fan. At the beginning of the year, we actually had people that bought into it. And, dude, this team fucks you over and over again, and you've got people that somehow or another come back to buy into the bullshit. Don't understand it. So wait a minute. A team that doesn't spend money is going to win in baseball. Okay. All right. And that's what's happening. There's a large group of people that I don't think are prepared for how bad this team is going to be. Large group of people. And then they're going to be severely disappointed. A lot of you that watch this show and you're realists, like myself, we might be sad about it because, they're losing and we hate to see them lose, but we're not going to be surprised. Like somebody said out there, 2-3 wins or whatever, it's kind of what it's going to be. You're working with a fraction of the cap. You got a shit ton of young guys. It's a recipe for success, for disaster, not for success. It's too funny. Manny's lens just made a spectacle out of him today. I thought so too. I thought he looked fabulous. It was like a calming type of influence. It was awesome. Big O, how much credence do you put on coaching trees? Did Joe Gibbs have one? Yeah, he had a couple guys that came out of his system. I don't really put a ton on coaching trees, but it just does seem to happen sometimes. That sometimes some coaches had a great eye for assistant coaches like Dennis Green, like Bill Walsh, and they ended up picking some good coaches. Others like Belichick, who had a lot of success, his assistant coaches suck ass. They're all clowns. Isn't that amazing? Belichick's coaches are all clowns. All of them fail. Is that awesome or what? So you just can't explain it. Jimmy Johnson's tree sucks also. Happens. So it's hard to kind of explain how that works out that way. Let's see. To kickers will be the best positional players on our team and running back. I absolutely expected Howard to have 100 interceptions in 5 years. You know, reasonable. Brett says, expect nothing and never be disappointed. That's my Marlins way of thinking. I can't say that I do that with the Dolphins all the time because, you know, sometimes I'm hopeful they do spend money and sometimes, you know, and it doesn't work out and some idiot tells me we're going to be special and I get excited and then we bring in some tuna ass and I get excited and then, you know, we had a couple veterans last year, you know, a couple years ago, remember? And I thought, okay, maybe, you know, so I'm guilty on the Dolphin side. I got to say, I'm guilty.
Blind ass fan alert. Look out, everyone. We've got a blind ass fan coming through.
Yeah, that happens to me. Not with the Marlins, but it does happen with the Dolphins. I'm guilty, bro. I'm guilty. Guilty as hell. What can I tell you? You know what I'm also all for? Host on host crime. Love it. You know, this whole Ryan Clark thing and people getting all hot and bothered about a couple people, unfortunately, getting released by ESPN. But Ryan Clark has been kind of a lightning bolt because he is kind of a lightning bolt himself, a race baiter and all that kind of stuff. And so he gets released from ESPN. And Emmanuel Acho goes out there and posts that Ryan Clark made NFL Live what it is today. So Trey Wingo saw that, and he wanted to post a little something to Emmanuel Acho. You know, because you want to make sure he says, let your apology be as loud as your disrespect. I think somebody said that once. And so this is NFL Live, ESPN viewership over the years. And as you could tell wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me make sure I took off the billboard. You see it all. There we go, because, you know, you got to see it all. It's important you see it all because then you get the whole story. So Trey Wingo put that out there, whereas in 2013, they had 688,000 viewers. Now it's at an all-time low in 2025 at 440. We're in 2026, which it'll be lower because that's the trend, as you can tell. And by the way, Emmanuel Acho, you know, listen, dude, I like a lot of the stuff that you do, but on this stuff here, nobody was watching NFL Live then. Ryan Clark built NFL Live into the juggernaut it is today. Nothing about ESPN. So you'll know Emmanuel Acho is juggernaut anymore. ESPN is at its worst that it's ever been. So all the people that are there collectively can take pride in the fact that they are lesser than what they used to be. That's why I've talked more about ESPN than I actually fucking watch it. I don't even watch ESPN. I barely ever watch ESPN. Barely, dude. Back in 2013, I watched it a lot more. Back in 2003, I watched it a ton more. Back in the 90s, I watched it a hell of a lot more. Nowadays, I barely watch it. Built it into the juggernaut it is today. Apparently, Manuel Acho doesn't know what juggernaut is because it isn't NFL Live nowadays and the garbage that ESPN is constantly putting out there. So I'm glad that Trey Wingo called out his sorry ass for that because that was a really stupid comment on his part. You might be friends with Ryan Clark. You might like Ryan Clark. Good for you. You may dislike Ryan Clark. Good for you. But all I know is that what I see now, whenever I do watch it, is dog shit compared to what it used to be. The entire channel, NFL Live, you name it. ESPN has fallen so far down. Give me a break, Emmanuel Acho. Juggernaut. You can't say that shit with a straight face, man. Anyway, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Don't forget, visit our friends, R&M Contractors. If you need work, Dade, Broward County, home, condo. Very important also, they do waterproofing of your terrace, your balcony, flood test report. That's even good for a second floor home. So that way the water doesn't go down to your first floor and create more problems. You want to be able to have a flood test report, be able to drain it and all that kind of stuff just in case it happens. Very important, great for insurance. By the way, they do complete remodels, kitchen upgrades with appliances, waterproofing your terrace or balcony, impact windows and door installations. They do it all, folks. Reach out to Ray and Mike, 305-345-3649. That's 305-345-3649. And if you want to see how exceptional their work is, go to their Instagram page, RMC Fisher Island. That's RMC Fisher Island. Chris Berman and Tom Jackson were the greatest. Yeah, back in the day, it's not even close, dude. Not even close. But to call it a juggernaut now? Oh, dude. That is funny. That is funny. That channel has lost so much. It's just hilarious. Somebody would actually say that or think that ESPN is some kind of a juggernaut in anything nowadays. That's like telling me SpaceX is a juggernaut right now. It's down 5 points, down to $113. We're going lower. We're going lower. No time to catch that falling knife. Let it fall. It's going to fall a lot farther. I think Anthony Davis is a genius. I really do. He has got the Wizards in a position that they're super uncomfortable. And to the Wizards' credit, by the way, they're not flinching. So I got to give him a lot of love in that sense to the Wizards, because it's hard to give the Wizards any kind of love whatsoever because the Wizards are a loser of a franchise. And he wants a max deal, okay? And think about this. Shams Charania, LeBron James is signing with the Philadelphia 76ers. A 2-year, $8 million deal with a player option. Clutch Sports is reporting. Sham Charania and Clutch Group and all that put it out there. Rich Paul tells ESPN. He did the logical thing, dude. That's smart. Super smart. Super smart. LeBron James goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. Are you kidding me? That is the move of all moves for LeBron James. Listen, I get the whole thing here in Miami. It would be more fun for us and all that stuff. But you've got Edgecombe, you've got Brown, and you've got Maxey that you're running with. That's going to make your life easier. Embiid plays or he doesn't play, whatever. Not a big deal overall. You'll get him for 40, 50 games. If you can get him for the playoffs, even better. But you've got an opportunity there to add to your legacy. If you can win a championship with the fourth team that you've been with, everywhere you go, you win a championship. That is awesome for your legacy. You bring a championship to the Sixers. This is the best team to sign with. You were going to overwork your ass in Miami or Golden State. Cleveland has a nice team, but you also have to play with James Harden. So I understand that. And Cleveland's team is better than Miami's team, but you still have to play with James Harden. This right here is a genius move on his part and ballsy. He goes to a tough town in Philly that you're going to be criticized if you don't get it done. And he's willing to take on the criticism of the city, the challenge of winning a title, and bringing it like he did to Cleveland. I respect this move on his part because he made the best basketball decision that he could possibly make. Whoever told you that Miami is the best fit, they're full of shit. And you know what? They should be embarrassed. They should put on a little skirt and should have one of these in their hands. Okay? Anybody that told you Miami is the best fit, they don't know their basketball. Or they don't have the balls to give you poetry. And the poetry is what I've been saying from day one. If you go anywhere, you go to Philadelphia. I mean, how many times did I say it? Go to Philly, go to Philly, go to Philly. You want them to come here, that's selfish. They're not winning shit anyway. LeBron, Giannis, and Bam, 3 2-point players in a 3-point league, you're not winning shit. But now he's going to run the court with 4 3-point players. Edgecombe, Brown, Maxey, and Embiid. He doesn't have to score at all. He can score 15 points a game, 12 points a game, 16 points a game, and they will not need his 30. Miami would need him to score 25, 30. Golden State would need him to score 25, 30 because those teams are mediocre or old, or they can't score enough. In Cleveland, he would have enough people around him to score. And in Philly, oh my God, he made the right move. He made the right decision. Congratulations to LeBron. I hope he doesn't win because I'm a Miami fan, but professionally, he made the logical decision. Now let's see if he gets it done, because that'll be pretty cool for him if he goes somewhere. And I don't care about this whole ring chasing that people talk about and all that. Philly hasn't won shit, dude. And they're not going to win anything. So if he goes there and helps them win it, you're going to have to give him a ton of credit for winning that championship overall. Good move by LeBron. Not bad. Not bad. Now, AD, I got to give him a ton of credit because he's got the Wizards by the balls. He wants a max contract. Okay? There's no way that you give this guy a 4-year, $275 million contract when he's entering his 15th season. Now, there's been talk, and I don't know now if Philly is possible of all of this, but there's been talk that he also could be trying to force a move, which I think that would be really smart where he could play with LeBron. And they were talking about maybe Golden State or something like that. I don't know if that works with Philly because of the money and all that other stuff. But I love this because this is funny. He forced his way out of New Orleans to Los Angeles, and he's kind of doing the same thing here. He's like, well, if you guys want me to play for you, you're going to have to pay me 4 years for $275 million. And you've got to be really stupid to do that. They're going to have to opt the other way. Oh, well, we're going to have to move him. So he gets his way where he gets out. Maybe he doesn't care so much about the money because he's made a lot of money already in his career. And, he'll make a decent salary somewhere else, but he won't make 4 for $275. But he'll get himself out of there and go to a better place. Because, my God, who wants to play for the Wizards? Come on. I mean, somebody was mentioning yesterday that the Wizards are trying to build a super team, and I'm like, yeah, Wizards and super team is not 2 words that go together. Or 3 words, super team. It's not 3 words that go together. It's kind of an oxymoron to say Wizards super team. Yeah, that doesn't ring. So AD is demanding a 4-year, $275 deal, which then the Wizards, if they're smart, trade him anyway. I wouldn't want AD on my team at all. I know he can play, but he's always injured. But that is a way that you can force a team to move you somewhere else because you want them to pay you. And I'm sure if you end up in a better place, you'll probably negotiate a more friendlier deal with that place. And then the Wizards are going to look at it and go, wait a minute, he ended up signing for less there and he was asking us for the max. It's kind of like the Heat having to pay Bosch the max when he took less to leave them to go to Houston. And people think Pat Riley has juice. He used to. Not anymore. He doesn't have the juice anymore, unfortunately. Let's see. What else do we have? People may dislike James, but he's very smart, calculating person. I never believed Miami was in play, nor did I want it. Well, I mean, selfishly, I'll take it. You know what I'm saying? But you're not winning anything anyway. And Miami, that's a stupid move to come here on his part. I said it then, and I'll continue to say it. But again, the homers around town, it's embarrassing. True Fin fan, thank you, James to Philly. Hope so. Don't want him here. Thank you for the super chat, my brother. Very nice of you. ESPN completely alienated me. The audience that made ESPN what it is, you get what you've earned. Let's see what else. Philly is going to be hard to deal with. They've got to be favored to come out of the East. Yeah, now this gives the Knicks a real run for their money for the Eastern Conference. It should be those two. Ray says, howdy. Oh, our fan base has to realize he already did it here, LA and Cleveland. He probably said, been there, done that. Exactly. Plus, Miami, he's not going to win anything. The way we're constructed, this is not a good team, dude. I don't care what any kind of homer around town wants to try to spin or anything. This is not a good team. They'll be better than they were as a play-in if Giannis stays healthy, but they're not going anywhere. This is a poorly constructed team. Blind ass fan alert for those that said LeBron coming to Miami. Yeah, you had several people thinking LeBron was coming to Miami. Here comes DeRozan. Yep, another 2-point player. Now the delusional segment of Heat fans can relax. Yeah. No, now they can get Russell Westbrook. If the Heat sign Russell Westbrook, What can I tell you, man? You know, Giannis Antetokounmpo. He had an interview with a Greek reporter and was very candid about the trade, his future, all of that. And I'm going to read everything that he said in the story, and then I'm going to go over some of this stuff where it kind of resonates with me and where I'm at with all of this, because I've been kind of nervous. I've never been a fan of this acquisition. Let's just be honest, for years now, because this has gone on for a couple of years, and I constantly told Ira Winderman when he was on with us every week that would be a stupid move because he's an older player. He's constantly breaking down. He misses 20% of the year every year. And now you're getting a guy in his 14th season. Yeah, that would be dumb. And his kind of game does not age well. All of those things I've said for 2 years now. So I am steadfast on that. I'm sticking with that. Okay. Yeah, you're going to be better, but you're not really going anywhere deep into the playoffs. But and you're certainly not winning a championship. So in his interview, he talks about moving on and moving back. Yes, well, we won the championship 5 years ago. I could have easily left then. I could have said that I achieved my goal, both my personal goal and the team's, and now it's time to do what I want. But no, I really believed that I would stay in Milwaukee for my entire career, but then I saw that I was in my comfort zone. I wanted something different. And I'm happy to be in Miami, I can't lie. I don't feel comfortable in Miami. I'll go there and do my best. That's what I've been doing my entire career. Hopefully everything will turn out well. The city of Milwaukee, I love the city of Milwaukee. I love the city till the day I die. I bleed purple and green. It's very simple. They made me who I am today. They love my family. When I walk down the street, they let me be. I live a normal life there. I can go to the grocery store and nobody bothers me. People see me on the street and wave at me. They don't mob me for photos, autographs, etc. So I guess he doesn't like that. Basketball-wise, I had a great time there. There will always be in my heart. That will never leave. I don't know, but I hope when the Miami chapter closes, and I don't know when or if it will, and I don't know how many years I'll spend there, but I wish to return to Milwaukee if they'll have me. I worry about not fitting in with the team and not being welcomed by the fans or not winning a championship. There's a lot to worry about as a professional athlete. I try not to fixate on all that. I just think I'll go there. I'll be well prepared. I'll keep healthy. I'll do right by my teammates and coaches. I respect Miami fans. I'll leave my mark on the Miami community. Yes, and when he was asked about whether he was worried that the Bucks fans would feel a sense of betrayal from his decision to leave the team, he says, "Yes, I certainly did. You can't make a decision based on what others would think. The opinions of others never fed, right? I asked people who I love, what do you think? I also wanted to get a different opinion other than my agents or friends. I was scared a little bit. I thought people would say that after 13 years, you were practically raised here. We loved you. This is your team, and you leave us?" The people didn't react that way at all. I saw it was something they wanted for me. He's got a real strong tie to Milwaukee, and he's already thinking about wanting to go back. And I get it because you spent your time there. You won your championship there. And I know he's going to try his hardest here because that's who he is. You can tell he's a guy that's going to play hard. But will his body? And that's my problem with it. Will his body actually cooperate? And that has not been the case. And he missed a lot of games this year, more than 20%. And calf injuries are nothing to laugh at, dude. That is stuff that can linger and can be a real problem. I hope it's entertaining. I hope they win more. I don't think it'll be a championship because he's not at that point anymore. I think the Heat feel that way. I think maybe some people that cover the team might feel that way, but I don't. Because if you can't be there most nights, then you're really not that player anymore. And he hasn't been that player for years. Yes, when he's on the court, he's good. But it kind of reminds you of Austin Jackson when he's on the field, when he's on the court. I don't know how this thing's going to work out overall, but I kind of get the feeling that this is a guy that it's going to take a lot of success for him to get comfortable here. But if he doesn't have the success and he feels uneasy and they have kind of an up and down existence, this marriage is not going to last as long as you think. And this window is really small. You've got maybe a year or two. This idea that you think you've got 3, 4, 5 years with Giannis, that's ridiculous, dude. He's entering his 14th year. And he must be the number one guy every night because you don't have another. Bam is not wired like this guy. It's a really small window, and you picked a really old player to start a small window. That doesn't make any sense to me. You picked a guy that's got 14 years of wear and tear. Just does not make any sense. And the whole thing of, well, it'll be here a couple years and you'll be able to add to it. Boy, you better add some special stuff because he'll be less and less of a player every single year that you've got him for. You've got him on the decline, not on the rise. Milwaukee did the right thing. They got rid of a declining asset. When it's depreciating, you want to get rid of it before it completely depreciates. So Miami acquired a depreciating asset that has a very small window. And if that small window, you don't achieve it, he's not going to feel very comfortable here or very wanted. I'll give you an example. How did it go for Bobrovsky the first couple of years? Luckily, it's hockey. Not enough people give a shit. But Bob was thoroughly criticized the first couple of years because he was paid a lot of money and was not delivering. He was overpaid. That's the part that people kind of forget after this run, that people, kind of fell in love with Bobby. They forget that it was only a couple of years of that because the first couple of years were really bad. And last year, it wasn't that good. And I think I'm going to count on Zito's eye to know when to get off the gravy train. You got to know when to get on, and you got to know when to get off. And I think Zito knows when to get on and get off. I'm going to say a bunch of you fans and some of you media members out there, I don't think you really understand that part about what's going on with Bob. Well, we are now in kind of a Bob-like situation with Giannis Antetokounmpo. This guy's got a shit ton of wear and tear on his body. And he's going to get paid a lot of money, and they're going to give him a big, fat extension. And if he continues to break down and doesn't live up to it, whoa, we're going to have Bobby Part 2. Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. The Dow is up 104 points. Don't know why. The S&P is up just under 3 points. The NASDAQ is barely up almost a point. SpaceX is down 5, down to $113. And you will go lower. And Bitcoin right now is at 63,998. So it is hovering right at the 64,000 mark. All right. Oh, let's see. We'll be a gritty defensive team, kind of like the way we were in the 90s. Good team with a really good defense, but no closer, very similar to the Timmy Zoe squads. Yeah, but those teams played in games that were scored in the 80s and 90s. So they fit with what was going on. This will not fit with what goes on. They don't score enough. That's the problem. Different era. Here they score 120. And that's where I just don't think that they're going to be able to slow that down that much. We shall see what we shall see. You know, quarterbacks are something that a lot of people clamor for and talk about. There is a quarterback that's available out there. I saw this article, and I thought it made a lot of sense for one team for sure. I mean, having a backup quarterback that's got some experience, that's, I think, important for anybody. But Jimmy Garoppolo has decided to not retire. He wants to play. He was considering retirement, but now he's like, you know what? I'm going to play. So he's open to playing. And under the circumstances right now, he's 34, has a 43-21 career win-loss record so far. So they mentioned 5 teams that should sign him. The Chargers is one that they mentioned. They've got Trey Lance on that team too. Denver Broncos, obviously, with Bo Nix there. The Indianapolis Colts is another one. The New England Patriots also with Drake May there, and Buffalo Bills and Josh Allen. Now, completely different quarterbacks. You can't run the same offense that Josh Allen runs because nobody can really do what Josh Allen can do. So that would be kind of an odd one. But backup quarterback wouldn't be a bad idea there. Drake May, backup quarterback also in New England. He's been there. Not that it's the same system or anything, but at least he knows the environment very well. Makes a lot of sense. The Denver Broncos, they need it, and I get it, but I don't know if he's actually a good fit for Peyton's offense, to be quite honest. Doesn't have a lot of movement in his game. Chargers kind of would make sense there, but for me, the best pick is the Colts. If you're the Colts, you should go after Garoppolo. You've got Daniel Jones coming back from a knee injury. I think it's a knee injury, right? If I'm correct. But anyways, it's an injury. Anthony Richardson is as useless as it gets. They tried to trade him in the offseason. Nobody wants his sorry ass because he can't play. And you're paying him a bunch of money, and he sucks. He's a joke of a quarterback. He was a joke when he was coming out of college. I don't even know. I wasn't a fan of Anthony Richardson. I saw him at Florida, and there was no way that I would spend a draft pick on that guy. They've got Leonard Riley there. They've got the Easton Stick guy. But the problem is that after Jones, you have no experience. And you were a pretty good team last year. Jones may be iffy. Now, Garoppolo, I know you can't count on because he gets injured all the time. But think about it. Can you count on Richardson? Always injured also. Built like Adonis, but fragile as hell. Leonard Riley and Easton Stick have no experience. Garoppolo does. If I'm the Colts, that's the guy I would go after as a backup. You thought I was going to talk about the Dolphins for a Garoppolo? No, come on. Those days passed a long time ago. But I saw that article, and I was like, the Colts would make a lot of sense for that one, especially with your number one guy coming back from injury and everybody behind him, like no experience. Yeah, I would do something a little different there. All right, Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Send in your questions, comments, insults. We appreciate it as always. Thank you all out there. Big O wanted to shout out the Big Cheese. Came into town and took my 9-year-old kid there for the first time. He loved it. Anyway, there you go. Great place, man. Check out the walls. Gary does great work out there. Big Cheese is such a institution. Love that place, man. Good people out there, man. What else do we have? Yes, Richardson, 100% bust, no doubt. If he wanted to win a camping trip, he would not have picked Miami. It's all about money in the lifestyle. He ain't no Michael Jordan ring hopper. Well, I mean, it's not, for me, I don't care about that comparison. To me, that comparison has never been a comparison. I've never, ever thought LeBron to be Michael Jordan. Michael's at another level, and he's all by himself. So I don't really give a shit about that. But I'm saying for himself. And it doesn't matter, because if LeBron doesn't come here, I don't know if you win those 2 titles. If LeBron doesn't go to the Lakers, you don't win that title. If LeBron doesn't go to Cleveland, you don't win that title. And Philly hasn't won a title. So if LeBron goes there and they win, you have to credit him for all the teams winning a title. So you can call it ring hopping, but I can also call it like you're not going to win the title without the guy. That's just the reality of it. That's the way we have to go. Remember, you have to understand that once we got LeBron at that point, Wade's knee was not the same anymore. So it wasn't the Wade of 06 that carried the Heat team. He wasn't going to be able to do that. He needed Bosh and LeBron to help him overall, because he wasn't going to carry teams anymore because that knee was getting bad. You won because you also had LeBron here. You won that 1 year for the Lakers. You won because you had LeBron. You won in Cleveland because you had LeBron. So if he goes to Philly and they win, you can call it ring chasing, whatever. I don't care about all that stuff. The bottom line is the guy joined your team and you won championships. That's it. And if he ends up with 5 championships in 4 different places, you got to give him credit for all of that. It has nothing to do with Michael. Michael is Michael, and he'll always be that, and he'll be number one in my eyes, in my heart, in my mind, always. LeBron will never, he can never be Michael, because he'll never be the dog, the son of a bitch, the guy that will cut your heart out and eat it right in front of you. That's Michael Jordan. LeBron was never the ruthless player that Michael Jordan was. Michael Jordan was ruthless from the get-go. He didn't have to learn how to do it. He was going to be that. That's why he's the GOAT. So for me, it has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with give the man credit. Wherever he went, he won a title. And if he does it now in Philly, as Gnarls Barkley would say, ain't that some shit? All right, here we go. We are wrapping it up. We're going to have a great weekend. We're going to relax and chill out. I hope you all have a great and safe weekend. Go Inter Miami tomorrow against Montreal. And I hope everybody out there has a fantastic, safe, and beautiful weekend. Enjoy your friends, family, and loved ones out there. Much love.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.